today I would like to introduce two fascinating people, Santos Bonacci, Wiliiam Schreib, author of Dance of the Zodiac, very nice book. What we're gonna present today, some of this information of this book, how all the energies influence us around the world. But we can get today on this presentation. So I would like to thank you for invitation. And hello, Will. Hello, Santo. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
We can start today to show a bit information how the zodiacs, how we can recognize zodiac sign by the look, by all different influences. And Wiliiam is a man who really understood this, and he tested on himself and check many years. He tried to understand this knowledge and put all the puzzles together, and we can see today on this presentation how we can recognize by the look what kind of zodiac we have, and other sign, of course, ascendant, moon sign, and zodiac. So if you can say some words, Wiliiam, about you, how did you start to be interested in this kind of knowledge? It was the family connection, or maybe friend, or you just feel that this is your hobbies and you need to go into this deep?
My favorite story, are you hear me fine? My favorite story is that my friend in 1973, my gosh, that was 46 years ago, he was into astrology and I did photography, so I decided to take some pictures to prove that astrology was bull. And he was a Taurus, so I had to prove it was bull. So we threw the pictures down. My dad was a Taurus, my friend was a Taurus, found a whole bunch of pictures, threw them all down, and we were sitting there looking at them. And I said, they're all different. He said, no, they're not. So I saw the shape, the look in the eyes, just the squareness of fixity. My favorite thing is, then I learned how to draw it. It took me about 10 years to do the caricatures. But my favorite thing was the Taurus was, I said, well, they got to be thinking something. They got to be doing something. What does a Taurus bull do? Smells the roses. So when they smell the roses, they lock down, their brows come down, their nostrils widen, they get really fixed. And that was the easiest one to draw. I'm still not happy with Gemini because they changed too much for my characters. So I worked through all of them as had to act them out in a way to become what each sign was: fixed, mutable, cardinal. And then the subtleties with the shapes came later, and they improved over the years. We got some old pictures, old images tonight. I'm going to show you some of the old ones and some of the new stuff. So that's the way it started. And they got me a little gig in Dell Horoscope, world's leading astrology magazine, now in its 23rd year. And so that's once a month for 23 years. So that's what made the new book, the Portraits of Personality. You know, that looks backwards on the screen.
Yeah.
It looks like it's up backwards. I wonder why that happens. I was noticing that my hands are the opposite. Anyway, it must be enough. Anyway, it's Portraits of Personality. There's 235 of the, you can see the pictures and the collages of the faces.
Yes.
All show their ascendants and stuff. And we'll talk about that tonight and show some examples.
I present this book later on. I put more bigger picture to present.
Beautiful.
So anyway, of course, the first one was the Dance of the Zodiac, which is, that flower attacked me. It was the first one. It actually, if you're beginning, this one is really a lot simpler. It basically described a little roomier, easier, more space to flow through. And but it was very difficult. and I wanted to prove it wrong. And then every time I saw something, it was just, I just saw it. I always was kind of visual. That's why I was into photography and did cartoons in college with my friend who was the astrologer.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, so that's how it happened. And so it's really interesting. Did you have anything to add, Santos? I met Santos. He called me up. Oh my goodness, what was it, 15 years ago or something, and said, I like your book, send me one. And that was the first little one. I don't even have it here.
Santos still has this book on his website. People
The first
buy it.
one. Yeah, little one. It was a little one. It was a bestseller. I printed 2,500 and I still got 2,300 20 years later. So it's a huge bestseller. But it was a start, and it was a, there's Santos.
Oh, hello, Santos. Then here we are.
I didn't realize I didn't have my camera on. So sorry, guys. I thought I was on.
The astrologer always has a problem with the communication and the internet, the electricity, because this is opposite houses, yeah?
Yeah.
If you are a philosopher, you need to be good astrologer, but opposite houses like third house communication, it's opposite actually. So sometimes it can be some difficulties, but that's, I know something about this, as you know on the beginning. In the computer to start. But regarding Wiliiam, what he said about Taurus, that he was interested in this behavior of typical Taurus. So I can only say that I don't have a zodiac Taurus, I don't have an ascendant, but I have a moon in Taurus, and I spent many years in the beauty sector, especially perfumes and fragrances, and also I start on myself to do a lot of tests with the new smell based on ozone, based on fresh air, based on earth, which is geosmin. This is kind of so I didn't know before. Of course, when I started 17 years ago, interested to invent some new smell. That this is my moon, actually, my mind, actually in the Taurus sign.
Yeah. I noticed the moon is when you react, you really ground down as you react to something I throw at you, and you go, your moon is your reaction, your sun is your projection. The sun radiates, the moon reflects. So that's the way I learned to tell the difference there, was the fact that, people would react. And interesting, the ascendant is the now. You're not doing any. Here I'm walking in the room. I'm just not projecting or reacting. Guess my rising sign. I already told Santos. Sagittarius.
It's pretty obvious. Very jovial, the ruler Jupiter. Yep. Sagittarius, the happy sign.
Okay, I got to get serious. I'm a Capricorn, and none of this nonsense here, people.
Yeah, Capricorn, the Earth, and typical. My father's 24th of December, and it's very and it's a bit similar to Wiliiam by the body. Body and look, yes, it's very interesting this. But I have an ascendant Virgo, Taurus moon, and Aquarius zodiac. So Aquarius is always close to this kind of undiscovered knowledges.
Yeah. Well, the moon's in Aquarius tonight. Last night things got a little man, we got that Pluto Saturn thing going on, and the node was there, and having all in Capricorn, and just getting really cruddy in this Capricorn moon last night. And today it went into Aquarius. So it must be on your side of the world, Santos, in Aquarius, thank goodness. So it feels lighter tonight. I feel much lighter than last night. And I just, anything. So things happen, it's all rhythmic. And it's all a process. And this process this is what I'm trying to come out with, the nature thing. if we understand nature, we become all 12 signs. We learn to use our Taurus and smell the roses, or we learn to be Sagittarius and kind of think big and see the cosmos beyond here, you know, the fire of mutability. You just all, if you use all these energies, if you get stuck anywhere, just go to the next sign and keep the circle going. That's the way I see it. You agree with that, Santos?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah. The Zodiac is the greatest teacher of the science of energy and frequencies. Every sign has its frequency. And so when you have the sun in a certain sign, it transmits that frequency to your personality. That's why you can see the sign in the individual when you know what you're looking for, because they are conditioned to that frequency where the sun is on the ecliptic, depending if it's up at the Tropic of Cancer or down at the Tropic of Capricorn. Yeah. But regardless, wherever it goes, each sign has a different frequency and a different archetypal energy. That's why Arians like me, you can see on the face, you can see the ram features, you can see the ovine features. Capricorns like Bill, he also is an ovine, but it's more like the goat. It's very, very similar, Capricorn and Aries. You, Greg, Aquarius. Well, there's not many animals in Aquarius. You know, it's not an animal sign. It's the human sign. So not so much an animal look will come through that sign. It's very, very sort of a clean sign, which is very human. But why do you take on the look of the animal? Why is that? Well, because the frequency of that sign is archetypal. And and so Leo, an individual born under Leo, he has that frequency of the feline, the cat. And so certain things will manifest through that, because that's how the cat is conditioned. It's conditioned in that set frequency of Leo, you see? And this is how it happens. So what I wanted to say was, just to introduce my part, and then I'm just going to leave it over to Bill. What I was hoping to do is just to go sign by sign, introduce the sign, and then let Bill take over sharing his screen, because he has just an abundance of resourceful information that I want the listeners to be able to glean as much information as possible on each sign, and they can go away and do this for themselves and prove that astrology is a science. So I'd like to start by saying you can either get Bill's book through my website, Universal Truth School, or you go straight to Bill's and you get it there. And what you have is essentially you get a whole bunch of photos for each sign. Now, on my YouTube channel, Mr. Astrotheology, I've done about 10 different presentations on Bill's books. You can see it there. But this one's going to be the best one, because we actually have Bill here who will be able to elaborate properly and thoroughly. So when you guys are ready to begin, I'll introduce the first sign.
Well, anyway, I want, the book is also, around the world, there's this little thing called Lightning Source and Amazon, and they got these little presses, and they do off by one. You can actually buy it at any bookstore in the world. I will say that you won't get a super quality, but the new book is, I do buy local printing here, and look at that quality of that printing. That's really good quality. Look at those pictures. And, but again, if you're in Europe, like Gregory, is that, it's going to cost more to ship it from here than just order it from your local bookstore, and I get a percentage, and I don't have to do anything. But I appreciate if you're in the USA, order from me directly, astro-visions.com. How's that for a plug? Anyway. You want to start with my general description on how I see how it works, how it creates shape?
Yes.
Okay.
From the spring.
Okay, we need to get, can you see that slide?
Yeah.
Yes, we can see. Yes, yes.
Okay, you see the mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really, there's a pattern, as Santos says, there's a pattern going on. The sun is coming up to this, by the way, I believe these cycles happen every day as well as every year, every month with the moon, every nanosecond, every galactic rotation. It's happening everywhere, and the time doesn't matter with the new quantum entanglement theory. Space doesn't make any difference. It's like they're all in the same. But the sun comes up. It's building. It started actually at Capricorn. So you can see this half, the sun is, this is the way the ancients looked at it. They were from an earth view, and they looked to the south. And in the morning, what was rising on the eastern horizon is how they began the theory. In spring, Aries was in back, still is. It's exactly on the equator. And Aries was in back of the sun. So every spring it was there. Then the next month, Taurus was in back of the sun. And the next month, Gemini. Then at high noon, it was in, of course, they couldn't see it, the constellations at noon, but it would be on the ascendant. Cancer would be on the ascendant in the morning when we were in that time of the year. So you see that at this point, the sun isn't going up. Those people are self-directed, sunlight directed. The sun is going down. We're entering the other half. We're going down with Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra is fall. And then, so you get that, you'll just kind of watch these people come on like they're building energy or they're falling back down. And Libras are kind of in the middle. Libra, Scorpio, Sag. Then Capricorn, of course, is where it climbs up. You kind of get the idea. That's the basic theory with it. Okay, now there's another thing here. I'll get over this in a minute. Is that within each season, there's this is actually running backwards, because they've got the chart runs this way, but the process runs this Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and as it rotates this way, Aries comes up, then Taurus. But the first cardinal points are the cardinal signs. They are running in a direction. They are at a directional point. So they're going, Aries is coming at you. Rather interesting. The opposite, Libra, runs sideways. and Capricorn is climbing up the mountain. We'll see more details on these. And Cancer's pulling down into the ocean. So you're going to see that. We'll show that in the body language in a minute. But that's cardinality. Just remember, if they always seem directed, then they're likely a cardinal sign or a cardinal sign moon, or whatever. And then the next step, as Gregory got at Aquarius with a Taurus moon, he looks very fixed. He's very square features. It's kind of a boxing in. It's caught in the middle. The fixed sign is caught in the middle. They can't get out of it. They're locked in. They're anchored. They're square. They're holding. And that's what you see. Watch their energy. If they're holding, they're a fixed sign. Mm-hmm. And then they coming out of that, we are taking, we're moving it, ready to change for a season. So what do we got to do? We got to make a change. This is the total opposite of full charge, full stop, and then we take both of them. Here's the here's the cardinal, and here's the fixed. Half and half. We get a Mobius pattern. Watch their energies. If it's a Mobius pattern in their mannerisms, they're a mutable sign. Is that clear?
Yes.
And of course, the sun's visual movement is this way, but actually it moves the other way around the sun. But you want to add anything to that, Santos? Can you comment anything on how that fits? There's this yin-yang, this sine wave going on here as well as in the year.
No, keep going. You're good.
Okay. Then the way you take these, so that's the patterns. And the next thing is the frequency, the vibration, the force of expression, the manner of expression, the temperature of expression. And of course, that's the 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. And they go through as we know, through in an order. Each one counters. Fire of Aries is countered by earth, is followed by air, masculine energy, followed by water. And this is not in order, but you get an idea. This is the cover of the Dance of the Zodiac book. I've been wanting to redo. I'm going to redo the cover someday, but I got to redo it anyway. There's a lot of mistakes in it, but not a lot. But so you get the idea of the patterns. So let's take these elements and look at the fire signs. You can see the cardinality of Aries, very long face, charging forward. And Leo's holding that. This is the spirit. This is fire. This is light holding itself. Leo is fixed. And Sagittarius is going out to Jupiter and bouncing around and coming back and going all over the place. You'll see that mutable energy with Sag, the holding with Leo. And that's pretty clear. And then, of course, the opposite of the fire, of course, is Earth. Every fire sign is followed by an Earth sign. Taurus is fixed. Mutable, Virgo. These are very old drawings, by the way. I finally got it. And of course, Capricorn is moving up. Remember, I said it was at the bottom and it starts that upward climb. So the mannerism is to move up. You know it's a Capricorn. They're looking up at you all the time. They kind of always looking up, as you can see it in their body language. We'll talk about that in a bit too as we get to each sign. Of course, the energy changes. It becomes vaporous. It becomes gassy. It becomes light and fluffy. And these are the air signs. That's a horrible drawing of Gemini. That's an old one. Like I said, I could never make Gemini look like I wanted. The newer ones are better, though. So it's mutable. They're thinking, they're doing the sorting of ideas. Libra is putting them in order and balancing them out. Aquarius is fixing on the idea, locking into the intuitive consciousness of the universe. Fixing. You can see. And if you think you're Aquarius, we'll talk more about it later. But there, you can see the idea of cardinal fixed mutable. And of course, last and not least, is water. It completes the process. It's the universal solvent that pulls all of this into physical form. Cancer, as we remember, Capricorn was going up. Cancer is pulling down into their little shell, kind of down on the bottom of the seashore, or the little pond, and Scorpio's going deeper down to the deep caverns below, fixing deep mysteries. And Pisces is blending them both together. I hope I don't, these are silly cartoons, but I think they're fun. And Pisces is mutable, and so you get the idea. And the last comment here before we go to the signs is, what did I do? Is remember that this is also seen in the body language. I've got my video on a walk through the Zodiac. You can see where each part of the body is ruled by a different sign: Aries, Taurus, shoulders, Gemini. So what happens is the force within the person, Aries, it's all in the head, so they rush forward head first. And Taurus is the opposite, locks down, feet bulls the legs, they lock into the earth and they hardly move. And it's all in the shoulders. You can see the shoulders leaning forward, but holding down, not rushing forward. And with Gemini, we're rushing forward, but we're going one way with one step, one way with the other hand. The hands are like propellers as they move forward, carrying them forward. And last but not least, of course, is Cancer Crab is, as I said, they're pulling down. They usually hold their chest down and back a little and the hands are kept closed just below it. That's not quite right, the drawing, but anyway, you get the idea. Does that follow? You want to add anything there?
Nope. Keep going.
Okay.
Oh, we go. Okay, we're ready for the first sign.
Yes.
No doubt the most important sign, the Zodiac. Don't you agree, Santos?
Yep. Aries, the Lamb of God, number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
Adrenaline.
I'm number 10. I'm sorry for Tauruses. They're number 2.
Yeah, the moon influence.
Anyway, you can kind of, these are the later drawings. You can see I really define the arc of the face, the ram look, and the double crown. A lot of them have double crowns in their forehead, reddish hair, double crowns. I think I'd say a 30% from what I've talked to people. You got a double crown, Santos?
Yeah, I do. I've got 12 little curly little bits there. Yep, I've got the ram's horns.
Mm-hmm. Well, in my old age Capricorn, the tree line is so far up the mountain, there's very little foliage up there for myself. But but you can see the eyes; they kind of sweep up to the sides, like the ram is you know, the side of the face. The nose comes forward. They got a very concave face. I think we can see this here. Can I drop you down there, or will that drop you out?
No, get rid of it. It's in the way. Get rid of that. Yep.
So,
right.
So you can see when they come forward, they got a very concave face. Actually, the chin is very recessed, and it all comes forward and moves, sweeps to the back. And there's a lot of that with Sagittarius too, because the ram and the centaur, and the head forwards and the curve of the back charging forward. We see that similar curve with the Mars of Scorpio, and then they run forward, full blast. Okay, what I've done here, want to make a comment? Anything else on the body language? Do you want to add anything? Just jump in.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the point you make in your book about the upturned eyebrows. Can you show that?
On Santos, I'm in Aries.
Yep, Aries. The upturned eyebrows of Aries. Yeah, that's probably just George.
Oh, okay.
Yep, just keep going.
Okay, so we got broad teeth, a thin upper lip, just like a sheep. They don't have a big upper lip. Actually, they have a little bigger mouth than that. Actually, that's pretty close. I worked on this a long time, every one of these. So, but they don't have. You think some of them are big mouths, but they're not. Just kidding, just kidding. And but the hair sweeps to the back. You can see it over here. And so that's that. Is that you got that one? Let's go back and look at these features in some real people and show how it shows in the sun signs. These are Aries sun signs, and these are people with Aries rising. Now John Lennon looks more like an Aries bone structure. The time of day is bone structure. It's the solid point on the earth is the rising sign. The sun is out there in the heavens. The point on the earth is the physical structure of your ascendant. I insist it's the bone structure. That's what I look at first. I ignore their expressions of flesh when they react and project. I just look at the bone structure. Look at that Aries bone structure. This is a Taurus over here, Barbara Streisand. Oh my gosh, she looks like an Aries. Look at the long neck, the ears, and the big snout is what I usually associate with. And we see them over here. The Aries look, and of course these are the two Aries pioneers who went where no one has gone before. You know, Leonard Nimoy and Bill Shatner from Star Trek, Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Yeah,
Trek.
the other Star Trek. There, got a block there. And then Helen Redding is a Scorpio. She's got a little more intense eyes, but look at the shape of that bone structure. We get Aries skin. He's got a very concave. James Colbert. Bette Midler, Sagittarius, but Aries rising. Ron Howard, for a Pisces, he has quite a long face. And he's got the strength, you know, he's a very excellent director. Of course,
Yes.
so you kind of see how that works in the ascendant and in the sun sign itself. These people are projecting energy out. These are just not projecting, they're just being, they're just there for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the Aries has a eyebrow is quite thick, it's bigger.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, of course, a lot of it, you know, so most of these movie stars, I picked movie stars because we know their mannerisms and we can see clips of them and watch them. That's how I studied them. But you know, they're always well coiffed and well made up. But John wasn't. But the early reports on John Lennon, he was a Libra with Libra rising back then when I first started. And I said, no way he's an Aries, because I was just starting to see what Aries looked like. And he was so aggressive and assertive. And he'd get up in front of those cameras and it was Aries energy that he'd start talking peace and love, and he would calm down, become more of a Libra. And they had their AM, PM backwards, so they finally got it corrected 20 years later. Somebody said, no, that's wrong. And the latest information says Aries rising. Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
So what can we say about Aries?
Well, I see a very defined angular face. There's the definition on the face, the facial features is quite impressive. You also can see that iron energy. You know, the iron martial Aries, which I identify with Aries, iron.
But the angle thing you talked about is the angle is very directed. This is directed. This is directed. It isn't twisted like a mutable sign. Let's look at Mary Lou Henner. She has a Virgo moon, and I don't have her ascendant. This gal, Sally Jessica Parker, is Capricorn moon. That doesn't show there. We'll probably see it elsewhere. But she's got a Gemini rising. So you notice she's a little mutable. She's not straight across like what in the heck is? I don't have information on Barbara Streisand. I forgot to write it down. Anyway, she's a Aries rising sign, and I don't know what her moon is. Anyway, I'm sorry, I meant. But here, guess which one of these has a Taurus moon and which one has a Aquarius moon? They're both fixed moons. Think of their.
This on the left one.
Yeah, that's Leonard Nimoy. He's also a Scorpio rising, or a Cancer. he's got a Cancer moon and a Scorpio rising. So you can see the strong Aries stuff there with the Scorpio, the strong, stout, but he's an Aquarius and a Taurus. So but he always played the role of, everybody said he was Gemini, 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 because that's the role he played as Spock in Star Trek, Star Trek. So we get fooled by the roles they play. Once you start watching them when they're not acting, I always like to watch people when they're guests on a talk show, and they're not playing a role. That makes sense?
Yes,
Because
yes.
then you start seeing the way they react and the way they project their sun signs. Anything else about it? I think that pretty well does it for Aries. Awesome sign, number 1. Okay. All right. This is Taurus. You see that fixed quality. This was the first one I drew. My dad had eyes like that. Remember, I'm talking about smelling the roses. You know how
Yes.
I got into that trip a little bit when my nostrils widened and I just locked down on that flower. It's the only flower I could find. And then the shoulders again. It rules the shoulders for this part of the body, leads Aries, the head. And here's Adele. A lot of music people, good voice people.
Voices, yeah.
Have golden voices, ruled by Taurus. Jack Nicholson is a Leo rising and a Taurus. So he looks like the most fixed of any of them. And he has a Taurus decant on his Virgo moon. No. Yeah, Virgo moon, Taurus decant, and he's a Taurus decant of Taurus. So we see those bovine eyes with Clooney. I'm sorry. And this is Michelle Pfeiffer. We'll see. Gemini ascendant. She's
Gemini.
And remember when she was playing the cat lady in Batman? I don't know if you watched many of our American weird movies, but we do a lot of superhero stuff. But when she played Catwoman, she was so mercuric. Her hands were flying all over. She was jittery. She played the neurotic Catwoman and did an excellent job. And she loves to talk. But you can see the bovine eyes, the fixed brow coming down here. See how that drops down? And he's looking up a little more, but it's still this holding down to the shoulders. That's the way you see the body look when they look at you. What do you want? You'll see that face. They'll pull their head down, pull their head into their shoulders and look at you from that angle. Here we see a little more of the Leo. His Leo mask is out there. I'm here. So anything else on let's take a look at some other people with Taurus. Of course, we mentioned Barbra Streisand. This is Bono. Bono looks a little jagged, doesn't he? He has a Capricorn rising sign and a Scorpio moon, but look how jagged, craggy he is. There isn't that smooth Venusian stuff we see with the Pisces rising here. He looks a little rounder. Clooney has Pisces rising, but he has a Capricorn moon. What did I miss here? Oh, that's Kirsten Dunst. I didn't write down her information. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, she's a Leo ascendant and moon. So she has a Leo look to her. It looks a little brighter, a little more fire there, not as grounded down as, let's say, a Capricorn ascendant. See how that mass changes the energy? Well, look how light and lit up she is with Leo rising, Capricorn rising. Looks a little gray. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So Sagittarius, Daryl Hannah, if you ever saw the Mermaid movie, she was in that. She is a Taurus ascendant, even though she's a Sag. She get a hint of mutability, but you definitely can see the Taurus shape to that Sagittarius longer face. It isn't a square as we see over here with a like we see here. And my favorite is Queen Latifah. She's a Pisces. One walking around in a daze, but she's like a bull in a china shop. But she looks like a Taurus. Oh, she's got giant, huge shoulders and those big bovine eyes. Salman Rushdie is a Gemini. You ever see him on the talk show? I always looked at him. I said, oh, he's a Taurus. He's a Taurus or a Leo. Look at all the hair on the face.
His eyebrow looks like Scorpio eyebrow.
Scorpio eyes? Yeah, it could be. Or the combination of...
No, the eyebrows. The eyebrows, the way they go, they make a V shape. Is that Taurian or Scorpio?
No, it's a little too sharp for Taurus. They're more straight across.
Yeah, like the guy below, Dan Rather.
I'm trying to find his.
Dan Rather has the flat eyebrows, whereas Salman Rushdie makes a V shape. They resemble the Scorpio opposite Taurus.
And I don't have any. I'm sorry, I lost that one. I don't have any data on him. I didn't get the data on him.
19th of June, 1947.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you need his ascendant, brother.
Ascendant, I tell you now.
Boy, I don't know. Maybe I think you're pretty close with Scorpio with that big beak.
Yeah, man. It's the opposite sign. I do this all the time. I guess people's sun sign through their opposite sign. The opposite sign is always there. It's always there. Taurians will always have that eagle.
Yes.
Look.
Yeah. I could bring up the other computer and find his data, but
ascendant it's a Taurus ascendant, Salman Rushdie, and the double Gemini, Sun and Moon Gemini.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And see, on to his right, Buster Keaton, he's got the Libran flat eyebrows. There's a big difference between these two guys. Look at Salman Rushdie with his Gemini. Gemini, I would say the Scorpio opposite Taurus and the Gemini, which contorts all the facial features, is the reason for those eyebrows.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we still got a physical ascendant is giving us something. We don't have the exposed nozzles. We got a big beak coming down. I think you might be right on Scorpio rising. I don't have the data, but now interesting with Buster Keaton, who was finest silent film star of them all. I thought even better than Chaplin, but he has a Libra. I didn't write these down. I think he's a Libra rising too, but he's a Taurus, Libra, Venus. He never made any expressions. They called him Stone Face. Isn't that a perfect name for a Taurus rising, Stone Face? Yep. He never laughed. He never expressed anything. He looked like that in every scene. A house would fall around him, and he'd just turn his head a little bit like, oh, the house fell down. And he was just funny, but stone face, Taurus rising. Dan Rattler looks pretty well. That's why I'm not getting the same eyebrows on Rattler. Rattler has I didn't write these down. I should have. I did the is over here, and Toni Morrison, she certainly is Aquarius, and but she sure shows the bovine much like Queen Latifah. So you can see where the bone structure. What I'm saying, I don't know his rising sign. It's Taurus. He's a Gemini, but there's something there. There's something on his ascendant. That's what it is.
I check him now, so he's got South mode in 8th house. What Santos said influences between 2 and 8, and it's really his North node is 2nd house. Salman Rushdie. That's why this eyebrow is connection with Scorpio, opposite Taurus house.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, it's fascinating. There's so many variables.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna got a little thing at the end. I'm gonna show how a planet on the ascendant. Are you familiar with this Steve Buscemi, the one that was in Fargo? Did you ever see that crazy movie? And I don't know if you get that over on the other side of the world, but it was a Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
Every role he gets killed in. He got chopped up in the cement mixer, the chipper, and he's he's a Sag. You wouldn't believe it, but I can't even remember what he is now. Oh, he's got a lot of Saturn on his ascendant. He looks so gray. That's what I was going to say. Gray. He's got Saturn on his ascendant. He looks gray. Anyway, anything else here on Taurus?
Nope. Next sign.
Okay, next sign. Gemini. Yay!
What I see in Gemini, the eyes is never symmetric. Is one eye is just moving opposite the second eye.
Yeah, and this is why I think this is like mine. I came up with this about a year ago. The key thing to sell Gemini from the others, you got all this air, so it never stabilizes too much. But the key thing here is this part of the face. This is a big cube here, and notice right there, that part of the face moves forward from the top half. Same here, not so much here. He's got Sag rising, I think. He's Sag rising, right? And a Virgo moon and a Gemini, so he's got mutable. But if you catch him in another pose, you probably see how this part of you get the idea on how that part comes forward from the back. So the eyes and the forehead sit back from the jaw assembly.
Yep.
And I got a little bit of it here. That's an old drawing. I got to work on that. But hey, after 42 years, but mutability, usually wide teeth, the rabbit, Angela Jolie, Bill Moyers is an Aquarius ascendant, Aries moon. Aquarius, he's in media. He was a journalist, or still is. Ian McKellen, who is Gandalf, Sag rising, perfect persona for Gandalf the wizard, isn't it?
Oh yeah, especially with his Virgo moon. Any wizard, anyone with Virgo in their chart, sun, rising, or moon, they tend to be very eccentric looking, very contorted, like the hermit in the tarot card, very wizard-like.
Yeah.
They look like gypsies. They're the proper, vagabond-looking wanderer on the earth type, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people get cast for their basic persona. And of course, this Sag persona was perfect for Gandalf. As you know. And of course, when Geminis come into the room, they're going to fly in, feet barely touch the ground. Their hands are going to be going up and down like propellers, pulling them forward, or spinning around, I should say, like propellers. And just watch those hands move in out front. And that's your first clue, and kind of the mutable eyes. And then one brow, of course, is lower than the other. Yeah, it looks like, and they got a pretty impy nose. And there's always a little gap in the tip of it. You can see it there. They have that Sagittarius, that Sag rising kind of takes care of the thin nose. But most of their noses are rather thin bridges. Bill Moyer's. That's where, notice the way his nose goes this way and his chin goes this way. Her nose goes that way and chin that way. Nose that way, chin that way. So that's mutable. Nose that way, chin that way. And he's a double mutable, nose that way, chin that way. So you get the idea of mutable, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mercury. What were you going to say, Santos?
Yep, Mercury, the hermaphrodite. So it's a twin. So what you're looking for is, they appear to have two eyebrows, two upper lids and lips, four cheeks. When you see someone with four cheeks, that's a Gemini or a Virgo. Anyone under Mercury, really. They have two faces. Every Gemini, you can just see one face overlaid on top of another one. That's what I see. I can pick them. The easiest sign to pick for me is Gemini, then Libra for me.
Mm. Now, and that bedding here, you can sort of see the double face. It's like it's a face within the face. She has Libra moon. I don't have a rising.
Yep. The Libra moon gives her face somewhat balanced. It's very round.
Yeah. And okay, let's go check out some other Libra Geminis. Okay, sun signs on the left. Clint Eastwood, guess his rising sign. And there's Annette again. You can see the Libra there more than the other one. She's not, but you can see the natural mutability. Anderson Cooper, CNN. He's a Gemini. Just looking for another two faces in there. And of course, your famous Australian over there, Nicole Kidman. Hey, they're not all Americans on here, Santos. We threw in a couple of Australians.
Nice.
Just to make you happy. You probably don't know half of these people. I know the kids don't know them. I'm sure. Who's that? Phyllis Diller. Who's that? Michael Caine. I never heard of him.
I know everything.
No, you remember. Maybe not the Phyllis Diller, but Michael Caine, yes.
Yeah. So when we get the ascendant, let's look at the bone structure. Actually, that idea of the being bone structure with Gemini, notice how Mitch Jagger's lower half shoots out over the top half. He's a Leo. But look at these lines, give him two faces at once.
Yeah, when the Gemini is smiling, it looks like Eskimo. Yeah, the eyes, you can't see the eyes.
Yeah, It's quinted, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's a Leo, but she's got Gemini rising. I think it's probably, you start, I'm getting into decants. I'm just going to guess with that real tight, down-drawn smile, she might be a Aquarius decant of Gemini ascendant. But again, that we're getting so many variables, but I actually, some of the things in the book, I have references to all the people that show they're very strong.
This is the Leo
sun side.
She has a Leo somewhere.
Yeah. And John Denver, Gemini rising, look at that. I mean, he's a Capricorn. And Rocky Mountain High, you can see the wide cheekbones of Capricorn. We'll get to that in a bit. But look at the Gemini rising, the dip edge of the nose, the thin nose up here. Michael Caine, Pisces, right? He's a Pisces sun, but he's Gemini rising. I just see the twisted features, and it's not as obvious with water signs. It seems to be filled in with rounded qualities with water, so you don't get that air type thing. Michelle, as we mentioned, is a Taurus with a Gemini ascendant, and Cancer, Phyllis Diller. You ever watch her? You know that cackle she had, that Cancerian cackle. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's all of these expressions. These Geminis are the people that really are good with, and in ourself, our Gemini, we need to analyze, use our minds to sort through so we can get to the next sign in the zodiac, which is so we could find how we feel about things. Thinking brings the thought. Thoughts bring feelings. So we deal with our thoughts, we get feelings. We deal with our feelings, we could we could become fire again, fire, earth, air, water, fire. We can find a action again, movement. So Cancer is the moon face. It's like there's a big circle moon here.
The eyebrow looks like half a moon.
Yeah. And then there's these little markings here, and the way that this lines right here are the same lines you see on the shell of a crab. That little marking on the back of a crab shell. And these lines up here, that's the crab shell. Isn't that interesting? Of course, I've just made that up, but it sure seems to work. The ancients were very wise and very tuned into nature. They saw all this. What was as real as television is unreal to us today, so because they were tuned in, they saw this. They were very simple, grounded to nature people.
Mm-hmm.
And rather small, tight mouths. And they're a little pucker factor, but small, pulled in from the sides. A little stubby nose, round on the edge. I got to work on that drawing. I never did get around to redo my wall. And Cancer, crab, Ringo Starr.
What about the big giant temples? They've got big moon temples, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I used to think it was higher, but it tends to drop down a little bit, but it really drops down a lot. These temples drop down for Capricorn, so you get this really serious look with Capricorn, but it's the same idea. That round, it's just almost perfectly centers the eyes. It pulls them down like they're pulling them down to the bottom of the ocean. The body language just pulling them down. That look, they look at you and they're pulling down, and as they look at you, hello, I'm a crab. Hi.
Yep.
And
The wavy triangle between the eyes. Can you highlight that?
this one here, yeah.
Yep.
That's
The wavy triangle.
yeah. And that is really those markings are very similar on the crab shell. It doesn't have a nose and it doesn't have the brows, but it comes up in curves, and then it creates the bulge at one end of the crab shell, and then the big itself. I little things like that I started noticing. Ringo Starr's got that round smile look. Ringo Starr is a Pisces ascendant, a Scorpio decant. I'm not sure if that was Scorpio decant of his son. I think he's pretty light. I don't see much Scorpio there. Linda Ronstadt is, I'm glad I wrote these down. I was almost into it. She is a Sag rising, you know. And see her on stage, she was pretty horsey. And a Virgo moon. There's that Virgo moon for you, that look of innocence, you know, that protective emotional shield of the emotions there of a Virgo moon. We talked about that earlier. You said it beautifully, Santos. I can't remember what you said, but something like that. And Meryl Streep is a Leo rising and a Taurus moon. You can see the Taurus quality as well as the Leo. See, the Leo is the big head.
Yes, big jaw.
Yeah, it's like up here is twice the size as you expect out of here. She doesn't have a big head. And then Robin Williams is Scorpio, ascendant, Pisces, triple water, an emotional basket case. You know,
Yes.
it was sad that he had passed on. He was very humorous. But you can see he is actually in that picture. It's a cross between a Pisces and a Cancer sun. He's Pisces moon, Cancer. He's reacting and expressing himself at the same time. We get some Cancer and we get some Pisces. So I just love that picture. It just strikes me as perfect combination of Cancer and Pisces. So anyway. Okay, any other comments on Cancer before we go to more faces? Whoops, sorry, did you want to say anything else? Okay, I guess not. Just tell me, don't be afraid to interrupt. Okay, again, we got the same people. I started duplicating them when I put this together because I've already talked about them rather than, we just talked about them before, so I don't have to talk to them again, but and from here on, we're going to see the same. I had new ones in the previous ones. Okay, Cancer ascendant, Virgo, Stephen King. Virgo, great writer, mental. Scorpio, Joni Mitchell. She's got it. Look at that Cancer look. Sagittarius, look at the big Sagittarius dome, but Cancer, look at that. Look at that. Something about that part of it suggests Cancer rising. Rounds, but Sagittarius suns really have this big, giant, bulging forehead that shoots to the back, just like a horse. And we'll look at that later. Gemini, Angelina Jolie has Cancer rising. That sure shows her Cancer rising, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And the emotion. Lisa Kudrow is a Leo. She was the hippie flower child in Friends, and but the caring Cancer ascendant, she was always taking care of everybody. They liked her Cancer look, so she was mothering everybody. And Aquarius, Jack Lemmon. Hey, he looks a lot like you, Greg.
Yeah.
It's that fixing in the eyes. There's a little air in your eyes, but you got Taurus rising, was it? If I got you right, you're Aquarius, right?
I'm Aquarius, Zodiac, Virgo rising.
Mm-hmm.
Taurus moon.
Mhm.
So anyway, so we got Cancer. Okay, Leo. We went from cardinal, we're going to fixed. We're following the same cardinal, fixed, then we'll go to mutable, because each one follows the other, takes the other, and keeps building the process as we go through the year and the day, as we go through every hour, every minute. The same thing happens within microscopic atoms, too. That's how you build the tree of life out of just the elements. Okay, very proud look.
Yeah, proud.
Chest forward. Strong chins. Wide, stubby noses. Wide bridge. And the eyes that kind of just fix on you. They're fixing on you, letting you know they're there. They're not fixing on them. But they're also fixing on themselves. How would I word that? They're fixing on their own light, saying, I'm going to make it shine. And you can almost see the light in their eyes as they fix. And they got a very jowly features, tight upper lip, just like a lion. You see it over here, a larger lower lip, tight upper lip, tight upper lip. But, and then they strut in the room, chest forward, like they're walking through their kingdom.
Yeah.
Now, I got a Leo moon, by the way, Greg, if you didn't know that.
Ah, yes, Leo moon. Oh.
So I get a little fire going here. Lots of Capricorn. So anyway, these signs over here with Leo, Jennifer Lawrence, one of the hottest stars going. She's making so much money. But you never guess what decant her sun is in for a Leo. Aries. She's an action star. You know, the Hunger Games. Aries, 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 but she's puts on quite a show. She has a Sag rising too, so there's more of that athletic persona. She's Sag rising and Aries decant of her sun and Aquarius moon. I don't see the Aquarius moon in that picture, but you catch her in some moments when she's reacting. Her whole face becomes Aquarius. Melanie Griffith.
She has a typical Leo eyes and jaw.
Oh yeah, look at those. Yeah.
Cat's eyes.
And then the broad, flat. I don't want to say flat. They really get flat with Scorpio. They really kind of flatten out and hang down, but they're very blocky. They're like blocks, just like you see on the jaw of a lion. She's a Taurus ascendant and an Aquarius moon. So she's triple fixed. But she strikes me as more Mercuric. She must have, she's quite Mercuric in most of her roles. Maybe she's got a Mars. Their physical energy can throw you off with Mars. watch them when they're entering a room or when they're working.
Yeah.
What's your Mars, Santos?
My Mars is in Leo, in the heart sign.
Uh-huh.
Big, passionate heart.
Yeah. As you, I watched you move around your apartment and you kind of strut around a little bit. Me, I trip over everything. I got Mars in Sag as well as my ascendant, so I trip over everything.
I always I have a Mars in Sagittarius also.
You're kind of clumsy, just to be nice. Trip over stuff. If you get really overworked and you're exhausted, then you become more animated and more mutable and you can't control it. And it really becomes hard when you worked real hard and you went beyond with your Mars and you're exhausted. I do that all the time. So, but it's a good place. What's that?
Can you show the flat cheekbones?
The flat cheekbones. Yeah, right there.
You call them the blocked cheeks. What's the blocked cheeks?
Well, it's like there's a rectangle right here. There's a rectangle. Then it drops down, then there's another rectangle. You can see the rectangle, square, square, Leo, fixed.
Well, can I just add?
Yeah.
Can I just add here, just for the listeners? So, all the fixed signs, Leo, Taurus, we've already done 2. We're coming to Scorpio and Aquarius. You'll see that square, fixed face. It's a cube. Then you go to your cardinals, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Aries is the long face. Cancer and Libra are the round faces. So the cardinals seem to have round and long. The fixed are square. And the mutable are, well, mutable.
Yeah, mutable, just skewed. I like twisted.
Twisted, yeah.
Like we saw in Gemini, skewed. This is Stanley Kubrick. Great, one of the greatest movie directors of all time. Does he look like? And most Leos tend to have excessive hair on their face if they're male. And most of you don't know Garrison Keillor, but he's a radio celebrity, did the Prairie Home Companion radio show for a long time. And he has Pisces rising, I think. I don't have it written down. I may be wrong. But definitely he's easygoing and light, but he just put on the most charming show. But he sure shows Leo, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, those 3 on the right, the 2 girls, and that pillar there, they are very, very lion, feline.
Lion, yeah.
Oh, my God, that's just a roaring lion.
This is cats, typical cats.
Incredible. You can't miss it. They're cats. Cool cats.
Yeah, he's Cancer rising. Robert De Niro, Cancer ascendant, Pisces moon. So he's a little rounder and not as... doesn't have the blocked features. They seem to be rounded a little, but we don't get the solid blocking like we do here with the cheekbones.
Yeah, well, I get another cat from De Niro. I get a jaguar. I get a panther. He is more sort of one of those inconspicuous cats. The others on the right tend to have a lot of lion, but you go down to Stanley Kubrick, and you can also see a little bit of lynx and all those other cats that are very, very like a cheetah. He's got the guy to the right of him has got a lot of cheetah in him.
Now, Kubrick is a Virgo, a Scorpio moon and ascendant, so he is triple fixed. You can see the Scorpio. There's your Scorpio. Those are rising up more than here. We're more elegant and sophisticated with the Leo. We're elegant and sophisticated, but here it's intensity. It pulls up.
Yeah, and
That's
Scorpio, it's
Scorpio.
secrets, all the secret influence in his films, for Stanley Kubrick films is it's probably Scorpio influence, the secrets.
Yeah. Anyway, that's amazing. It's mind-boggling that an hour difference in the day can change your whole physical structure. So everybody is what they were supposed to be. They were born for that reason, to be that special part of the crystal circle that makes all things possible. Okay, here we got the same people. Now let's look at the ascendants.
Oh, check out Seagal, Aries with Leo rising. He is exactly the same as me. I have an Aries sun and a Leo ascendant, and I can see that. I can see the eyebrows, the nose, the anger, bitterness.
Well, you got a Pisces moon, don't you?
Yep, softens it up a bit.
Yeah, you don't have. Steven Seagal is an action guy. He likes to beat people up and show how tough he is. Aries. And he's a Leo, and he's going to really put on a show when he beats people up. I never did like his movies, but I like the look of the fixed look of an Aries. But it's still a little longer face with Aries than we usually see. And Sagittarius, Tina Turner.
Hey guys, while we're on this one, while you just said that, Bill, I'm going to interject here. I'm Aryan and my son is Libran. I'm gonna provide Greg a photo of me and my son. Okay, I'm going to provide, and you will see we are in the same photo. You see my head is twice as long as my son's. My son's head is small and round and Libran, and mine is long and bold and Aryan. So I'll put that in.
Okay. Do I got to take mine down, or will yours pop up? I just came back in. Okay, where is it? I thought you were a Pisces. I guess I was wrong. It's been a long time since I talked to Santos, a couple of years. Okay, here we are. We got all this. Yeah, I can see that. You're really so Libra. Well, your quest for ideas emotionally, that I can't believe you know all this stuff about sounds and languages. I'm horrible. I never learned another language because I could never hear the difference in the tones.
Huh. Well, that's what I specialized in. I was a bilingual from birth and then became a polyglot in my teens.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I was visual. As you see, I was looking at stuff. I could see it.
I said that Tina Turner, she has a Leo ascendant, yeah? Tina Turner, top right.
Sun.
Yeah, Leo.
No,
Leo.
Sag.
This is Marilyn, and so does.
No, Tina Turner. Tina Turner.
Oh, Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. Boy, she put on a show, doesn't she?
Yeah, she always had a very bushy hair, yeah, big hair.
Yeah.
So this is also typical characteristic for Leo look.
Yeah, but the Sag is the squinted eyes, and we're getting the Sag beautiful. We don't have that look of the eyes that are locking in on you there. But I went for the facial shape. That's why I picked the picture, not the expression, because she was being somewhat Sag, but it showed the shape of the bone structure. Mm-hmm. Now, Marilyn Monroe is really interesting. Gemini, breathy. Hi, I'm Marilyn. Hi. That was her whole gig. Hi. And of course, and she was very bright and intelligent, but everybody just saw her as a beautiful object. She was a Leo. She'd walk in the room and everybody would turn and look at her. She'd get all the attention. That Leo ascendant was what everybody saw in she didn't get what she really was her Gemini sun. And I believe she has an Aquarius moon too.
Aquarius moon, yes. Aquarius moon.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because you can see that too. So she had that wonderful sense of intellect and ideas, but everybody saw her as a sex object, as a just a gorgeous,
Yeah,
show.
Gemini ascendant.
And she's a Gemini moon sun, but Leo ascended. Everybody saw her ascending. That's what I'm trying to say. So sadly, she that was her handy. It made her very famous and well-to-do, but she wasn't very happy. So, and of course, Taurus with Leo rising, we did him before. Meryl Streep, we did with Cancer. I think that pretty well covers Leo, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yep. I can tell you by experience that the Leo ascendant, all those guys in the black and white there on the right, I can see that Leo body, the Leo in the body. It's in their body. And when you walk in a room, if you've got a Leo rising or a Cancer, but mostly the Leo because it's the sun sign and Cancer's the moon sign, because of the size of the sun and the moon, it gives them a big sort of a bigger than life sort of energy. And people just, I cannot enter a room or go anywhere and sort of just be unnoticed. It just, I don't know, it makes a statement.
Yeah,
it is.
It's magnetic. Yeah, you walk in and those Leo risings, just everybody is immediately attracted to them. I mean, Justin Timberlake. I mean, when he's kind of a flighty little Aquarius, but man, when he walks on stage, see him on Saturday Night Live or something. What a show person! He just walks in and there he is. He's the king. Or the Queen of Maryland.
There's a lot of movie industry. Leo dominating movie industry.
Yeah. He doesn't have the big chest of a Leo. Most Leo ascendants have quite a large chest area because they rule the heart. Remember where we had that part of it?
Yes.
And anyway, okay. On to Virgo, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The best sign of the zodiac except for Capricorn, and the other, they're all great. I don't like to put any sign down because I find that everyone is important, and it's important that we understand what people are and what their purpose is. With their sun sign, I believe, is their purpose. It's what they will contribute to make the world better. That's kind of the theme I've been working on for a long time. Kind of a hint of it in Dance of the Zodiac.
And then the moon, what would you say about that then? If the sun's the purpose, the moon is the
moon is how you interact and work with other.
Okay, and the rising?
It's your home, it's your base, it's the place to where you work from. It's as you walk in the room, you're here now, right now, doing right now. And this is it's almost it's the now, and this where the sun was at that moment on the eastern horizon. It's the point on the earth. It's the spot. It's the spot you're in. It isn't a spot like a Leo. It isn't a throne, but it's the spot. With Leo rising, you walk in and everybody sees you as a Leo. With a Virgo rising, oh, here, take this. You can handle this. I don't want to deal with all these details. And I know a lot of Virgo risings that really don't deal with details because there are other signs, but they get stuck with it. Everybody assumes what they see in your ascendant. They assume by seeing that until they get to know you as your sun, purpose, and your moon, your emotions, and the you, the inner active you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. Perfect. So I would say then that the ascendant is connected to the body you're in, the now. You're in this body, here you are. There you go.
Yeah, right. And the sun is moving to the future, moving forward. The moon is reflecting on the past, back.
Yep.
An emotional reaction. Oh, I got this thrown at me. I'm reacting this way. Even when my Leo moon is, I react. Everybody thinks I'm more stronger in my reactions than when I do my Capricorn expression because it's masculine. We get confused with this masculine feminine thing. That's another way to guess these signs. Just are they expansive or are they pulling back? Are they expansive? Virgo is pulling back. They're pulling into the stomach. They're pulling in, and their minds are thinking, and their hands are very close to the body. Gemini was out here. Virgo is close to the body. And I like to say their hands are protecting their virginal parts. But you could see that the chest, sunken chest, thin upper section, the curve, the stomach is the part they rule. So when they walk in the room, there's kind of I don't like the word waddle. They walk in very precisely, step by step, and then the stomach moves back and forth at one step with the other as they walk in. And these hands hover very close to the body. Gemini, they hover, as I said, out there. And this is one of my favorite drawings of all of the signs is my Virgo caricature. There's this look of knowing in their eyes, like they got everything figured out. And there's the little two dots in their eyes, not one. You know, you don't just have a dot. It looks like it's an electrical thing going back and forth in both of the eyes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep, Mercury, the hermaphrodite. With all the mutable signs, you must be able to see the hermaphrodite. There's two fish, there's two twins, there's two natures in Sagittarius, horse and the man, and then Virgo is also the hermaphrodite, the man and the woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you see
yeah.
I often pick them by the gap in their front teeth.
Yes,
and
they have a
long,
gap,
thin nose.
Yeah. And I look at here, he had Stephen King, Virgo gap. Well, nowadays with modern dentistry, it's hard to tell. Actually, Sean Connery had one. Of course, everybody from Britain had a gap in their front teeth.
Madonna, she has a gap in the front teeth. She's a Virgo.
Virgo rising, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Particularly rising because it's a bone.
You should have got a picture of Oliver Stone. My goodness, he's got the largest gap. Oh, is that him?
There he is.
There he is. Oh yeah, there he is. You can pick him being Virgo. Well, I mean, you can see all the contorted facial features, that rustic looking earthy energy there, but you can just pick him as a Virgo just by that gap.
Yeah. Is this because the Mercury?
Yeah.
Influence
Mercury. Yeah, making twins.
Yeah, it's because one side of the face is going this way and the other going that, and it creates the gap. Remember early days with who was the English star, the rock star that had a big gap? Then, of
Oh,
course, Madonna. She had a
Yeah,
gap.
I just said it before. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Well, have a look at their bald heads. All Virgos. My nephew, he went bald at 18, and they've all got these very very high foreheads. Look at Oliver Stone's. It goes way way up.
We don't see that much with Cameron Diaz. Let's see.
Yeah.
But is it because the Mercury also the long
That's because
head?
she's a Cancer ascendant. See, it's rounder.
Mm.
See
And the
that?
one to her right,
That's-
she's got the squinted offset eyes of the Virgo.
Mm-hmm. She has Aquarius ascendant and Capricorn moon. So, but I see the Aquarius. There's a lightness to her, an airiness
Yep.
for a Earth sign. She's light. She's
Mhm.
it'll Aquarius. But you sure see the Cancer with Cameron Diaz.
Yep.
I believe, and Dr. Phil, he's a Pisces rising sign, Taurus moon, but he sure is a Virgo. Look at that. And they got the long dipping nose that dips down and usually splits. Almost we get a split in Gemini, we get a split in the Virgo.
And the offset cheekbones.
Mm-hmm. And the cheekbones are narrow and not wide like we see in the others, not solid. They kind of run at different angles, and they're very thin. Everything about Virgo is very thin. Most of them never have to worry about being overweight.
Oh yes, yes.
Even though they love to eat. Oh, they love it.
Yeah. And my favorite Virgo was Lily Tomlin. Is this who I am speaking?
Yeah, they're very eccentric. I find that Virgoans are very eccentric and look like wizards and witches, you know, don't they? They've all got that sort of hermetic, you could say, witty, kinky, slightly cheeky
Yeah.
thing about them.
Fussy. And definitely fussy. They'll fuss over the darndest littlest details. But that's what they're great at. Gosh, I tell you, I'm horrible at it. I have no Virgo in my chart, and my house is well, shall we say it constantly needs work that never gets done. All right, okay, let's go next one. Let's take a look at, there's our Virgos again. I'll see what happens when we get a Virgo ascendant. Woody Allen. There you see the Sagittarius. You also chatterbox. He whine over the smallest of details. I just used to love his earlier shows, his movies. I love that look at Conan and Brian and Aries with a Virgo rising. And when he started his show when he had the late show, he always would pull at his tie, and he fidgeted so much they had to get back and put him under control. So he finally got his Virgo ascendant under control. But he's very fidgety. He's not really straight at you in your face. He would fidget. This was his persona. He was very nervous. Is that, I don't know. And there's Madonna in the gap in her teeth. She's a Leo with Virgo. I had it backwards. I had it backwards. That's why but remember Madonna, the gap in her teeth? It has been corrected. Katie Lang, oh, does she look like a Scorpio? But look at that features. You also, that Scorpio is looking like a Virgo. It's just one eye's above. There's no, the fixity is a little kitty wampus, little twisted up, lifted up on one side. And here we get double Virgo with Dana Carvey, Gemini, the church lady. Now, down now, you people. And very airy, breathy voice, like I mentioned with Marilyn Monroe. And of course, Mary Poppins, Julie Andrews, perfect in the kitchen, taking care of everything. Nice, easygoing Libra, never offended anybody, but boy, she had a Virgo rising. What were you going to say, Santos? I interrupted you.
No, the Virgo rising people, I find that they highly accessorize. They've always got necklace and earrings and makeup. They're very, very conscious, and they've got a very unusual kind of dress sense. It's not really, I don't know, not down the center. It's never, in the middle. It's kind of out there sometimes.
Yeah, well, I think it depends on, of course, yeah, definitely with the sun signs, it's precise, very precise and proper.
And also intelligent and slim, the body. Ascendant Virgo is not very fat.
Well, okay.
Yep.
Now we're going to, from mutability, we're going into, for everybody out there, we're going into a new season, the season of fall, on the equator, perfect balance, which takes us to the cardinal sign of Libra. Notice how the energy runs sideways. Aries ran this way. We're talking direction. Aries runs this way, right at you, actually forward. Libra spreads it to the side. They're always balancing. They're perfect balance. They're like a model. They're on stage modeling, like they have a book on their head. Perfect balance. Perfect grace, balance. Okay, Jimmy Carter, double Libra. I believe he's a Libra rising sign, Libra. He's got it. That's it. Gwyneth Paltrow. Where was she? She's a Pisces rising sign, Gemini moon. So we get a little, the air is a little stronger. I don't, Pisces rising, she sells a bunch of goop or something, beauty things, very Libra stuff. They always into beauty products. I forget who this is. This is Kelly Ripa. She was a talk show host. You can see the Libra, the smile, the perfect horizontal spread. Michael Douglas. Scorpio rising Capricorn, so he's a little heavier than this double air here. So Scorpio rising, there we're getting that beak. We don't have the dainty rounded beak. It's strong and distinct. And the eyebrows are a little more fixed, Scorpio rising. Matt Damon, of course, is I believe he's I can't remember. I didn't write it down. I changed the picture. So I had originally Jenny Anderson, who's well, anyway, I don't know what Matt Damon is. I can check in my handy dandy book. Any comments on your side?
Yeah, well, I see the big vertical dimples. You can see them. You can see the big V-shaped smile from ear to ear. You can see the horizontal eyebrows.
Yeah.
Very much like
Ascendant
Schreib.
Aquarius, yeah, and Sagittarius moon.
Right. Matt Damon, Aquarius rising. Yeah. And a Capricorn moon.
Capricorn, sorry. And the eyes of Matt Damon is typical for Libra, which is one eye is straight and the second eye is going on side.
And there's a certain diamond-like sparkle in their eyes. It isn't as electric as with the Gemini.
Yes, the air sign typical for air.
And Aquarius. It's like a diamond. It's just elegantly pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
You get this. You see the little Libra symbol I snuck in there? Well, sort of. And these, as Santos said, this wide cheek line that creates the V-shaped chin, perfect and then it's perfectly balanced by the second fold. But that V shape you see on Jimmy Carter, and it's here with Kelly Ripa. Damon has it. But I like his Aquarius rising. He's light, but he's got a Capricorn moon. And of course, perfect balance. And they kind of just walk into the room like a model. Okay, so we looked at them. Let's Libra ascendants. Sagittarius, a little longer face, not as perfectly balanced. Spread this way, it seems spread this way, Sag goes this way, and Aries. And Britney Spears is a Sagittarius with Libra rising. She does have the Venusian eyes. They're soft, they're almost kind of hint of Taurus. They're a little more sparkly. That's what it's like, it's a calmness to it, like you see with Taurus, Venus. Here we have a Gemini and the Libra. She's Paula Abdul is a very mercuric, airy person. She vibrates like air. I just like that look. It's a combination of Libra and Gemini. It's very airy, non-settled. Mm-hmm. There's Jenny Aniston, Aquarius with Libra ascendant. That's why I didn't have her last time. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, and look at that look. The same as we had with Matt Damon over here. He's an Aquarius ascendant, Libra sun. She's an Aquarius with Libra. See the similarity? We're flip-flopping. He's a Libra with Aquarius rising. She's an Aquarius with Libra rising. So there's a similar. Yeah. And,
wow.
And the widespread eyes. And the big smile, of course. She has and there's something interesting. They both got longer chins than usual. Yeah. And then Scorpio, Leo DiCaprio, Scorpio intensity, but always that charming presence. He was on some kid show as a kid. He was a charming little neighbor guy, and he became finally got his Oscar a couple of years ago. But he plays Scorpio roles, but he looks very pleasant, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got that Scorpio beak. You can see the eyebrows, the eagle look, the hawk, looks like a hawk. But they've all got beautiful chins. The Librans?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot like that look we had with Salman Rushdie. Remember you were talking about that? And
Yep.
remember that look? I think you might be right on that stuff in the eighth house, a big heavy eighth house or a Scorpio presence. And he was a Gemini with a Taurus. No,
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, Taurus rising. But he had the,
Can you show the wide upper eyelids that stretch out to the sides?
the what?
The wide upper eyelids.
Oh yeah, these right here. This goes way out and this goes way out. It's and it's very puffy like a cloud. They're not thin. Well, I mean more so here. But you look at that wide lid that just seems to wrap to this off to the side and it bulges like a cloud, cumulus cloud. It's everything's cumulus cloud. It's light. Even here, well, he's a little. He doesn't have the Libra eyes, but here, and then, again, his eyes are very close together.
Where is?
For a Libra? He was a Scorpio rising sign, so it pulls them in.
Yep.
And hers are out there. And
Yep.
same with Matt Damon. Same with Bon Jovi. His eyes are very wide apart and not very round and full like you expect with a Pisces. They're slit eyes. They have slit eyes, like little slits. And Cancer here, Harrison Ford has always had a charming presence. Indiana Jones, he was calm and serene. That Venusian presence that he presented was all Libra. Never a worry, no problem. Isn't that amazing how this works? All right.
Okay. Yeah, we're at Scorpio, and I thought before we start with it, we kind of review what has happened in the fall season. We went from summer up here, and we went through a Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Mm-hmm. And then at the first day of the fall, when the sun drops down into darkness hits the equator, it begins the journey to the south of the equator into winter. And that's the reverse for all the people in the other hemisphere. But then we went through Libra, and today we're in the middle of autumn, and that's Scorpio. And, in the middle of autumn, it's cold, the wintry nights, the snow, the water is turning to ice. It's solid form. In this fixed water, nature's elements are transformed, and they hold on to all resources of worth so we can survive the winter months ahead. Who knows the secrets and what happens? The Scorpio knows.
Yes, Scorpio knows.
Remember that? Yes.
The color of his hair you make because the Mars influence, isn't it?
Yeah. And I made the picture from the other ones a little bigger so we could look at the face a little more. The most important thing with Scorpio are these intense eyes, and I looked at those eyes and they look like they pull in from the outside. They're not round pupils. They pull in from the outside. And this is really makes them seem right focused right at you. And they're locked in under the eyebrows. We talked about the fixed eyebrows of Taurus and Leo earlier. And but here we have a different color. It isn't as red as Leo, it's purple. So you got a little bit of that water in there. And those fixed brows, they come down, they pull the eyes. What's interesting with the Scorpio face is the nose is totally different. Taurus and Leo have short noses and they're rather stubby and the nostrils are up here, but Scorpio, the nose pulls down, the tip pulls below the nostrils, quite a distance.
Like a
That's
hole.
Yeah, that's because of the bend in the nose and the eagle's beak.
Eagles, yes.
Eagle's beak, yeah. And you see how the face is longer than we saw in Taurus and Leo because it's very much like Aries. Scorpio is also ruled by Mars, so they have this very long face and the dominant nose. We won't use the term beak this time, but Aries has a long nose like that. And this pulls this part of the face right there, if you can see that section there, it pulls it down and makes that a lot larger in this smaller portion here. So the upper lip is really tight and not a big upper lip. It's tightly drawn upper lip, and the jaw is very pushed up, and this section is smaller than the rest of the face. You kind of follow that? You have any questions on that?
Yes, Scorpio also have something to do with skin. The skin is more thin.
Yeah. It's the flesh is round. It's fluid. It's liquid, but held in place with the fixed water, and that gives it an interesting texture. It's I don't. Pisces is very transparent. Cancer is middle water. It's middle tone. This is deeper. It looks like we're in a deeper space of water. But that's a hard way to explain water, but it's because it's so deep and pulls down deep to the depths.
Yeah.
You get a different feel to that thing.
And also the eyes are like hypnotizing eyes the Scorpio has, and very cold. Sometimes looks very cold.
Yeah, and of course it's that time of year, and that's why I wanted to bring the winter in, or the season elements in, because every one of these signs symbolizes that point in that season, whether it's the cardinal point. Our Cancer crabs were scooting with the tides, and then we locked the tides in the hold, and then in next, when we get to Pisces, they break loose again to bring us into spring. So you could feel that water and how it changes in every season that there's water. So it starts Cancer, and it's in the middle of fall and the end of spring. So that's an interesting thought, that you think of the energy of the season, and that's exactly what these faces represent. Did that make any sense?
Yes, definitely. So Scorpio, so we have from the 12 zodiac signs, we have only 2 rules by Mars. So Bill, what is the similarity between Aries and Scorpio? What has own similar looks, or in your opinion?
The difference between who and who?
Yes. How you? What is the differences? I know the eyes and also the eyebrow is a bit higher, is going up in Scorpio.
Yeah. Well, the Pisces, Cancer is very round. It's very evenly. You got the big center in Cancer. Pisces is mutable. Of course, it's twisted. One current's going this way and the other going that way. Oh, that's it. And to me, what you're seeing is the patterns of the cardinal fixed mutable. The water is, you can think about the seasons, and it's more transparent in spring because the light's coming through, because it's rising up through Pisces. It's going down with Scorpio, and it's kind of right there at full shine in Cancer. Maybe that's the difference in the water. If you were looking up through the water and you saw the reflection of the sun looking up from the bottom of the ocean, that's kind of the feeling with Cancer. But here you're looking from the top down into the depths below. Does that make sense? That's a thought. You inspired me there.
Yes.
You want to anyway. The cheekbones is really the key part. The cheekbones are wide and flat, and it
Yes.
really that's the key difference. You don't see those cheekbones in Cancer. You see just big round circle. In Pisces, one side comes down and the other goes up. You'll see a Mobius pattern.
I think also compared to Pisces, the Pisces has beautiful teeth, and Scorpio has different. It's different teeth.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Sometimes they have a breaks between top teeth.
Say it again.
Sometimes Scorpio has a problem with teeth, and also have a problem with the. Sometimes they have a breaks, the same like Virgo in the top teeth.
Yeah, I never seen a gap in the Scorpio. It's very solid and solid tooth here. Those teeth aren't. They're really strong front teeth with a Scorpio. They don't have a gap. Cancer are small teeth, a little, but they strike me as very large on a Scorpio. That's my just an observation on the moment, but I believe that's what I drew there. Anyway, you want to go look at the profile now and some other people, or you got any other questions on the face?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The key thing is body language. If you want to watch someone for a while and watch the way they move around the room, particularly when they're going up to make a point and they're projecting their sun signs, if they have this as ascendant, they're going to look like this, bone structure wise, with the ascendant. And we'll talk about some Scorpio ascendants in a minute, but you can see where the body part ruled by Scorpio is the pelvis, so it leads the way forward. So as that leads the way, the feet go to the back sways way to the back. You can see the direction here, and then it takes a sharp angle forward. And if you follow this line from here to here, it's almost a straight line, and so the top of the head is narrower in width than the bottom, and eliminate the jaw, and you can kind of see that. I suppose I could exaggerate it a little more, but that is a really good way to see some Scorpio, particularly ascendants, because that's the bone structure. So, and then you'll see the beak and how that turns down, the fine nose and the fixed eyebrows, the forehead, the strong forehead that sweeps back, and the solid chin. And then another interesting thing is the Taurus ears. They kind of run to the back and they point upward to the back. You can kind of see it here on this. These are all Scorpio sun signs. There you see it with the McConaughey, really distinct with Leo DiCaprio. Ladies don't have theirs showing, but the pointed ears, and they represent, if you think of an eagle, they have feathers on the side of their face and they sweep up to the back to a point. It's kind of like here, you can see it right there, but it's sweeps back to the back. So that's kind of the way it looks. Any questions on body language or anything?
Is it also similar to Aries, the body language?
All languages have a different body language thanks to the rulership, because where that rulership, I think the way the ancients discovered the rulership, this is my interpretation, is that they watched people, and if there was a big conglomeration in Mars, they would find that this part of the body would either get ill or get activated. The same with Aries with the head, which goes straight forward with the head. But those parts of the body with Mars, so they said, well, Scorpio rules here. And of course, that fits deep, dark secrets. And on the other hand, Aries is the pioneer charging forth. So the body language, they have realized it follows the circle. They're planted in the circle. Aries is the head, Taurus, and so forth. So the next sign we go to will be Sag, and that'll be the thighs, and they'll be bouncing forward like a horse galloping down the path. You kind of see that in all the signs. So the body language is really interesting. On my website, Astrovisions, with the Astrovisions at YouTube, rather, you could catch the walk through the Zodiac. It's kind of a goofy little video I made several years ago, and I demonstrate how each of the signs walk. So, and we start. Any other questions on that?
No, it's okay. It's probably influence of the ascendant and other planets that because it's very difficult sometimes to recognize Scorpio. Only the most characteristic is the eyes, I think, and nose.
Yeah.
And cheekbones maybe, or eyebrows.
Okay, here on the right are some Scorpio sun signs. You notice they all have except for the one on Matthew, will explain that how the other parts of the elements make a difference. And Scorpio, the strongest fixed Scorpio look here is Whoopi Goldberg. She has a fixed sun sign and a fixed moon. So her Aquarius rising and a Scorpio moon, so fixity. She really looks fixed. Over here is Emma Stone. She is Leo rising, and her moon is Libra. By the way, all of these have air in their charts. We'll talk about that. She has Aquarius. She has Libra, and Eris, and so she appears rather pleasant and less threatening because that Libra is a very calming presence. But who would believe that DiCaprio has Libra rising and a Libra moon? You could see it in the structure of his face, but look at those eyes. You still have the intense eyes. And he's always played rather mobster roles and really tough guys.
Yeah.
And but so that's the Scorpio. And it's just hard to beat. He's not a perfect example of a double Libra. But there's that look to it. It's different than Scorpio. You don't have the broad, solid nose, that sort of look. There's a balance to the face with the Libra rising. You can kind of see that very balanced appearance. And then Matthew McConaughey is he's a Gemini rising with the Virgo moon. Now, those are both mutable. So as we talked earlier, the mutable sends one side of the face up, the other down. You can see where his nose runs this way, it curves this way, the chin curves that way, one eye goes that way, and that's his mutable. But he still has those pointed ears, the high fixed forehead, square, and the solid chin, and that beak is quite very strong for Geminis, rather have, shall we say, dainty noses. So you can see where the other sparks are coming in. Any questions on these people here?
No, it's okay.
Okay, so we're going to go and look at, we saw them there, and we're going to look at some Scorpio ascendants. So we're doing the reverse of what we had here. We got Scorpio ascendants. These are all Scorpio ascendants. Gemini, Clint Eastwood. Virgo, Oliver Stone. You would never guess Clint Eastwood is a Gemini rising. If you saw his movie Any Which Way But Loose, which even the title suggests Gemini, and it was one of his comedies, and it was pretty whimsical. A lot of kinetic energy, erratic energy, I should say, and fun. But most of his movies are Dirty Harry, the spaghetti westerns, that sort of thing. Oliver Stone is a more analytical. You can see the Virgo thought in his face. And he writes most of his own scripts for his movies that he directs. but you can still see structurally he shows the strong bone structure of that chin, the solid brow, the forehead, the large nose of Scorpio. So,
lot of films of Oliver Stone's are connected to secrets, like Scorpio. Scorpio likes all the secrets of the world.
yeah, and he, yeah, you're right. He does want to reveal all the nasty secrets of the politics, and that's a good point there. Yeah, in the middle we have Penny Marshall is a Libra, and Martha Stewart is a Leo. They're both masculine sun signs, but they have Scorpio ascendants. So this Leo out here, she loves to put on a show. She's always telling us how to. I think she has a Virgo moon. I gotta check on that's just off the top of them. I got so many of them in my head, but I think she has a Virgo moon because she's fastidious in the kitchen. But she certainly is a Leo in her Leo shine of self. But she's always been very private and has this. Again, we see the square features, but again, we're getting a hint of Scorpio and Leo. They're both fixed, so there's more squareness than there is with a Gem. Look how his face doesn't come out square because of that Gemini sun. And Libra, Penny Marshall, comedian lady, and you can see the Scorpio. She's always was a kind of mysterious, wouldn't say much, but it was always very wanting to help others in her comedy shows. She's Laverne and Shirley. I don't know if you've seen any of these American TV shows from back when we were used to watch television. And the bottom two are both water signs. They see how rounder and softer they look, and these others look a little more erratic.
More dry.
The water is just right there, just kind of like you're looking at a puddle of water. Pisces. Jennifer Love here had to shorten her name to make it fit. She's a Pisces, and the waters move up and down, and she does this mutable water thing. Very kind. You don't feel threatened, but you sure see a certain intensity in her eyes. And that nose is a wee bit long for a Pisces. So that's probably due to the Scorpio ascendant. And last but not least, we have the Cancer of Chris Christopherson. He's a Cancer sun sign. You can see it in the round face right there, the soft Cancer. But he's always had an intensity to him, a discomfort. This Cancer was never comfortable like most of them. And
so he's got the Scorpio ascendant, that's Christopherson, because his eyes is very small. So it's another typical for Scorpio element, what shows his eyes are very often very small.
Yeah, and Cancer could be pulling them in, whereas she has very large eyes.
Oh, yes.
In fact, most of these, come to think of it, their eyes aren't as big as you see in the original. Here's a double Scorpio, so we got large eyes, but I'd say most of these are rather small eyes. So maybe Scorpio pulls the eye, makes smaller eyes, but again, that's a good observation. I have to go redraw everything now. Another 20 work. Anyway, so that's it for Scorpio. I guess from here on, we're going to go to the next sign of Sagittarius, and we'll do that. First of all, let's go back to you. Do you have any questions?
No, I've got a question about how would you describe me if you don't remember my sign? Maybe you remember, but how would you describe me? What I am, the mix of different size. If you look at me, if you could say a few sentences about.
I forgot what you were, but I think you said you were Aquarius. Is that correct? Fixed? I see a lot of fixed. You look like a Scorpio rising. You got the distinct brows, or maybe, are you a fixed sign rising too?
Virgo rising.
Oh, Taurus decant?
Between Leo and Virgo, exactly, but
Oh.
Virgo rising, Zodiac Aquarius, and Taurus moon.
Oh, that's okay. Now, is your Virgo rising in the Taurus decant? Were you born after the second to the 11th? And a following Virgo would be Taurus, correct? The next decant would in the circle takes you up to Taurus. So that, are you in that? When's your birthday?
22nd of January.
Second, or you're the first day of the Taurus decant. Very strong Taurus features with a Taurus moon and a fixed sun sign. So I'm getting aware the decants throw you off a lot too. So if you think people are having trouble with it, thinking about just the 12 signs, you're going to have 3 versions of each. I don't have the birth dates on any of these here, but I'm not going to make a guess because then I'll be wrong. But you can see, I would just guess, I'd look at his face. Mm-hmm. Are you still seeing this image here?
Yes.
Oliver Stone, he looks a lot like you. He's a Virgo, but maybe he has a Virgo, he's in the Taurus decant of Virgo, and you're in the Taurus decant of Virgo rising. So what it does is it's after you're going through the circle, the earth signs are Taurus, Leo, or Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The first 10 degrees is the sun sign, Virgo. Mm-hmm. The second would be the next earth sign that comes up after Virgo is Capricorn. And the next one after that is Taurus. See, Taurus is the one before, where you can't go before you're in the next sign, because 0 to 10 is Virgo, and so forth. And that also works on ascendant. I don't see much on the moon sign. It's too hard to guess the emotions, and all the other factors in the chart really affect the moon sign, whereas sun and ascendant are pretty solid. It's the real thing as far as I'm concerned. So I think that fits on you. And yeah.
Thank you.
You look a lot like Oliver Stone. So look at your picture. A great director, a great motion picture producer.
I wish. I wish to be.
Well, anyway, I guess that will wrap it up. And so, as I said, I guess we'll go somewhere here and go to any other things. Cut out the stuff I don't need to say, like right now. But any other things? That's a good comment on that. Guess your point, and really the fact that you fit this discussion so well, because you really look like our Scorpio. You really have a long forehead.
My mother is Scorpio, but the North Node is in Scorpio sign. My North Node in Vedic astrology, Rahu, is in Scorpio sign.
Oh. Well, and then there's those 6,000 billion asteroids that we got to count.
Yes. The most important is the ascendant, zodiac, moon, because moon sometimes shows how the people think, but this is also important. But this kind of knowledge is very useful because you can recognize compatibility of, for example, if some boys looking for the girls, and the compatibility is not so easy to find. So
Yeah. And it brings us back down to the real vital point of growing and understanding yourself is realize that all 12 of these ideas, all of these feelings, these spiritual thoughts, the thoughts and the physical senses, they're in all of us, and some of them could be strong and overwhelming. Is the point is to use all of them so that you can keep healthy. I think that's the way to do it.
yes,
On to the Sagittarius. One of my favorite signs. I love this. They stick their tongues out a lot. That's Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift, Jeff Bridges, Virgo rising, Tyra Banks, Cancer ascendant. I don't see that too much. But I like the Sag look there. They're always look like they're always just
Smiling.
wow look. Wow. Hey,
excited,
wow.
excited.
I like this. Ben Stiller is there's a Sag rising. He's a Gemini ascendant Pisces. No, Gemini ascendant and Pisces moon. He's a triple Virgo. Or triple mutable, I'm sorry. And Brad Pitt again, Sag ascendant. Or he's a Sag ascendant. I'm confused. I think I messed up there. Brad Pitt. I'm getting him confused with DiCaprio. And he's a Sag. So they bounce into the room feet first, skipping in. One foot sends them the other, the other one sends them the other one sends them as they come in the room. And the whole bottom half of that we're now past the midpoint of Libra. We're now from now on, all of the energies in the lower half of the feet, lower half of the body, I'm sorry. And so you see this in the body language. Usually large thighs, quite a big here.
Yeah,
And then
Sagittarius rules the hips, and hips comes from hippo, the horse in Greek.
yeah. And they're rather surprisingly thin in the upper half. Most of them have got very small, and it thins and thins and thins. They get a long, thin neck. And my most fascinating thing is how the head comes back like a dome like that. It goes way to the back. Oh, wait. And they're fairly decent. And then it drops down to the horse nose, almost as big here as it is. And the horse jaw. Here's the horse jaw. I know, there's the horse jaw. But it's not a wide jaw, but it's large. It's maybe I didn't catch it quite right here. I got too much up here. This should be a little thinner. And then these eyes that sparkle with fire, and they constantly the sparks, and the one brow above the other. One eye above the other, the wide bulbous nose. There's a big round bulb on the tip of the nose. Most cases. Well, everybody has surgery and gets it corrected if you're a movie star.
Oh, yeah.
Virgo rising here, he doesn't have the large. We'll see it in a couple of the other pictures. With the ascendants particularly, and this strange little folds on the side, like you can see on a horse where the side of it mocks the horse, makes the jaw more seem like it's coming forward more. and it is coming forward. I should probably bring that out a little more because they tend to come out a little more. Aries comes back, the horse's jaw comes out. But anyway, let's take a look at some Sagittariuses with the ascendant. Goldie Hawn, you never guessed she was a Scorpio. My favorite story was when I first started this, that is what I saw with Goldie Hawn. And I looked her up and said, no, wow, she ain't no Scorpio. She's a Sag ascendant. She's a giddy laugher, giddly, was always laughing, like hee-hawing like a horse, hee-hawing, whatever it is, what a horse does, whinnying, that's it. And I said, astrology is BS, it don't work, that proves it right there. And when I found out she was a Sag rising, and I kind of figured out what Sag looks like, I said, oh my gosh, astrology works.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't have her. I forget her moon. I think she has a Scorpio. I can't remember her moon. I wonder what Miley Cyrus is a Taurus rising. You wouldn't believe that, would you? But she's the old country girl. But she really, her new persona was to do Sagittarius stuff. Okay, Aquarius, Paris Hilton, yeah, that fits. There's Aquarius. Aquarius, kind of a square features, structure, and a little bit of a longer face of Sagittarius ascendant. Capricorn, there's a combination of Capricorn and a Sagittarius. Doesn't that just fit my drawing? I always thought he was a Sag, as Nicolas Cage. Look at that, just, amazing. And Pisces, and Chuck Norris, the athletic Chuck Norris, Pisces, Sag rising. Sagittarius, and this is, he's the one that did all the adventure movies, running around the world to all the exotic adventures. And he's a Capricorn. And speaking of Capricorn, I guess we can go to the best sign in the Zodiac.
The best one, because it's you.
That's my Leo moon humming there. So we go from a fixed to cardinal, and you remember what I'm talking about, Capricorn looking up?
Yes.
It looks like we got the earthy sunken, the cheekbones are very wide and sunken in the middle. That's why they appear so serious. Even wide cheekbones. So she's a little happier person. But look at Judd Law, or not, Judd Law, yeah. And Betty White, look at that. It's the sunken cheeks. Mary Tyler Moore, much nice Libra there, but look at those cheekbones. She was always so, and of course, Muhammad Ali. So we get this very serious look. Mm-hmm. And as they move up the mountain, they're always looking up here, over here, way over here, looking up at the top of the path ahead, climbing that mountain. And they usually have pretty short extremities, and they sink. The knees carry them forward, so it drops the butt down a little bit, and then they walk cautiously forward, step at a time, step at a time. So, okay, so there's our Capricorns, serious people, even when we were very lovely. And I just love Betty White. What is she, 115 years old, and she's still starring in roles? She's a wonderful representation of the endurance of Capricorn. Capricorn ascendant, Michael Gemini, Michael Fox. Look at that. Look at those cheekbones. Scorpio, Charlie Branson. Look at that. Same look. Those just makes him look so serious. He doesn't have the intense eyes. He's got those little beady Capricorn eyes. Beady Capricorn eyes. I hate to say that myself. I don't have beady Capricorn eyes. Maybe I do. Jane Fonda, Sagittarius. She's a Sag, but she's got Capricorn. Look at them cheekbones, wide, sunken cheekbones. Oh, there's a Capricorn look for a Leo. Dustin Hoffman. Look at that. Ratzel Rizzle from the movie Midnight Cowboy. What a goat image he cast out with his Capricorn ascendant in that role, his breakthrough role. So everybody gets cast to their ascendant. Virgo, Sophia Loren, she's still lovely, and she's as old as Betty White, I believe. I just saw a picture the other day, and I said, my goodness, amazing. And I think she's still alive. Anyway, Libra, Susan Sarandon. Again, look at the bone structures, very wide cheekbones. You can see it, can't you?
Yep, you sure can.
And there's kind of a downturned beak. It's quite prominent, not so with her. And he's a Leo, Aquarius rising, Leo moon, or one or the other. I think he's a Leo rising and an Aquarius moon. I'm the greatest. Yeah, he's a Leo rising, just like a president we got now. I'm the greatest.
Yes.
And then I sting like a butterfly. Well, that was his emotional reaction. That was Aquarius. And then all of these people they're masked. Their mask is very important. So you see where sun and ascendant, that's the key. You know, the reflection of the moon is, you gotta catch him in a moment. It's not physically obvious like it is with the ascendant and the sun, because that's the real earth point of the sunlight. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe you. Okay. Aquarius, the greatest sign of the zodiac, right, Greg?
Yes, the greatest. I am the greatest. No, that's great.
This is a fun one for me. I've always got a kick out of it. These body drawings I'm going to have to redo. Those were some of the earlier stuff. They miss a lot of the points. But what is neat talk about locking in to the inner mind and the third eye right there. Oh, I got an idea. Bingo.
I've got idea every day.
And here's the split lines and the little weird, almost, it looks like the Aquarius symbol there. Not quite, but.
Why is Aquarius has blue eyes? Very common that this color of the blue eyes is very energetic, like it's different. It's different. It's more bright.
It's on the other side of the dimension of somewhere. It's not sunlight. You know, this is winter. It's like the hidden inner light, I guess. The inner light, that's what it is. It's not in the outward like Leo. It's pulling you in. Those eyes pull you in.
Mm-hmm.
They lock onto you. And real short brows. This kind of double line here. There's this little gap between your nose, between your two brows.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again, Bill. You
Breaking, yes.
breaking. Say
There's
that
a
again.
little dip between the two brows where the bridge comes down on the top of the.
Uh-huh.
You can kind of see it here. There's one right there that's really hard to see. These pictures are so small here. If I had sharper images, but that's what I had. But anyway, that's interesting. And then, of course, the brows pull in. They don't go out like Leo.
Mm-hmm.
They're pulling in. Everything's pulling in. Everything's pulling in. The face, it's like the face, the facial elements, the brows, the eyes, the nose, the mouth are way smaller than the big head. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Because this is all squeezed in. It's like we got a really big head with all them ideas stuck in there.
That would be because of Saturn.
And it's all pulled in, and then the cheekbones are pulled in, and even everything's pulling in, fixed. And then and the really tight down drop when they smile, the lid pulls straight down on the sides. That really tight smile. Look at that with him. And here, the rest of them didn't catch the right moment. You can see where but Alan Alda really shows it, and he shows that basic small face in the big head.
Mm-hmm.
It's all other than his eyes are little. Alan Alda.
The skills in dance also, like Muhammad Ali dance on the ring, because the Aquarius has also skills in dance, skills in legs.
Uh-huh.
Like John Travolta or Justin Timberlake, this is typical influence of his abilities. So that's also open-minded people. That's why when you look, his eyes is always looks like he thinking. Aquarius always his eyes thinking every second.
And when they walk in the room, they skip in like a hovercraft, feet first.
Yeah.
Bounce. They don't touch the ground. I swear they don't. I would. And the chest falls back like wind is blowing and pushes the top half back like a sail. The wind is pushing this back, and the feet are carrying him forward. That's a little analogy of this wind resisting the winds. Is very Aquarius, to resist all wind, all ideas, all of it. So that you get the body language, but it's the most obvious face for me. I look at John Travolta, Ellen DeGeneres, Gina Davis, and of course, we mentioned him earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Justin. So, and I don't know why I drew the nose like this. That's because there's a little lump on top of a bubble. There you can see it. There's a bubble on top of the bubble of the nostrils. You don't really, it's a double knob. I don't have that right. I don't know why I ended up doing that, but there's something like that.
Sometimes they have a big noses, Aquarius. Not everybody.
Jimmy Durante with his big nose. Yeah, remember him from the old days? He had a huge snout, of course, or a huge nose. Yeah, I got to work on this drawing. Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's Aquarius. Again, now we get a ascendant, Russell Crowe. There's an Aries with Aquarius ascendant. You can see the light. They, like Libra, they have the rather large lids, but they're pulled in on the side. With Aquarius. Libra, they tend to run out. Remember when we talked about Libra, those lids? With Aquarius, they're all pulling in. Those eyelids are pulling in. And there's obviously Ryan. Oops, I just messed it up. I was supposed to do. And again, there you can see where she has the fairly small facial features for a Virgo. It's the face is Aquarius rising. She's rather square features. Doesn't have the long Virgo chin. The face, it seems to be pulling inward. Even though she is a Virgo, they tend to go like this. Orlando Bloom's a Capricorn. I just love that look. I see that in a lot of Aquariuses. Hey, I got an idea.
Good idea. Yeah.
And Condi Rice. And there's a very Aquarius face. Look how small the facial features for the big face. She's a Scorpio. Little, obviously more intense, little larger, rounder. And a Taurus Audrey Hepburn. Yeah. I bet you she's the Gemini decant of Aquarius ascendant. I'll have to check that. That's just a guess. You start, if you want to, you just nitpick this and you go to the Sabian symbols and you can discuss all 360 degrees and put 6 million angels on the head of a pin. But anyway, okay. And okay, last and not least is Pisces, the completion of the cycle before we start again with Aries. Pisces is mutable water. They're in a dream bubble. They're floating, paddling feet first, heel and toe, heel and toe.
They're changing often, yeah? They're changing often.
What's that?
They like to change something. If they agree meetings, they're changing this and changing mind often.
Yeah.
Like water.
Water, yeah. They're I find the most liquid of the water signs, even though Cancers are more like the tides. They're moving like the tides. This is the surface water sloshing onto the shore and breaking and receding.
Santo, you have a moon in Pisces, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, that's where I got the Pisces. All right. Yeah. George Harrison.
Liza Minnelli, I think, typical represents water influence. The Pisces, as the eyes is very roundy and it's too far away from each other. So probably, do you have a will her other signs? Liza Minnelli.
I don't. I ran out of space on my little.
No problem. I'll check.
I could get Liza Minnelli. I got her in the chart, in the book.
She has a moon in Cancer, sun in Pisces, and ascendant Taurus.
Taurus. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So like earth and water mixed.
And Drew Barrymore, Steve, you're Australian again. We got another Australian here. He's a Pisces. Um, I can't remember. Was he a Sag rising?
So this is why Eliza Minnelli has the eyes so far away from each other, because she has a sun in Pisces, and which is double sign,
Yeah.
and moon in Cancer, crab, which is also double sign. Maybe that's why.
And I find people that have, regardless of their sun sign, even a Sagittarius, which you would not, I see a lot of Sages that look Cancer and they fool you because they have Cancer moons. And anybody with a Cancer moon, it certainly shapes the quality of what you're seeing. And it really throws you off on the longer faces like Aries and Sag. I've noticed that is Cancer moons show up stronger than any moon physically.
Yeah. The Steve Irwin, you looking, yeah?
I'm excuse me, I'm looking for
I can tell you now. Steve Irwin. Sun in Pisces, Moon in Virgo, Sagittarius ascendant.
yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting. I did an article for Dell on the Australian outback boy, and it was really an interesting article on the day that he got stung by the manta ray and died.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally in the chart.
Yeah. He's got two.
He's a Virgo moon and an Aquarius rising. Steve Irwin is.
Yeah.
Aquarius, he always had that, along with the Pisces sense of wonder, there was always that little spark of, when he was running his zoo and talking to the cameras, he had a very good gift of gab.
Yeah. And the gap in the middle. He had this gap.
And Steve Jobs, he was Pisces. He had some Aries, I believe. I should have wrote these down.
Steve Jobs is Aquarius. Steve Jobs is Aquarius.
Yeah. And Bon Jovi and Drew Barrymore. Anyway. And then you start with Gwyneth again. She was Pisces rising. She has that dreamy look. And remember how much Libra we saw with her selling her beauty products. But this is the look that the characters she had in the movie, the Shakespeare in Love, that sort of one. Laura Dern looks more. She's a Gemini with a Pisces ascendant. She's in some other world. She's really rounded features. That's not a great example, but I like that look in the eyes. You don't see that look in the eyes with a Gemini. Virgo, Pisces ascendant. There's Dr. Phil. That's the one I see all the time. He looks totally lost. And I love Ringo Starr. That is the best picture of any Pisces ascendant.
He looks like a fish. He looks like a fish.
Yeah, doesn't he? And look at the lines. It looks like a fish.
Yeah, definitely. He looks like a fish.
The bone is just
like a zoom. Oh. The eyes is typical on the side, like fish has.
Yeah.
Going down.
Yeah, and eyes on the side really strong over here with Liza Minnelli.
Oh, Liza Minnelli has also similar like a fish.
And there's that softness to George Clooney for a Taurus. You just feel real comfortable with him around. You don't feel threatened with it. He's always had that look of comfort Pisces ascendant. And for the Mary Tyler Moore Capricorn, which, but she has Pisces. That's not a great picture. There's some where eyes are just huge.
Huge eyes, yes. I remember other
Yeah.
pictures that she.
So, at last I came up with is one of the favorite articles, which I did for Dell Horoscope. It was a first two-pager I did. I know I got to do the two-pager. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alex Guinness in the first Star Wars was Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Evan McGregor. Yeah, they both have their moons in Gemini. They both are Aries. And Evan has Libra rising, which you can see right here. Look at that smile. But if you were, I don't know if I used to love the old Alex Guinness movies when I was in college, because he was, they were English and they were funny. But he has Sun and Moon conjoined Venus. Look at those sleepy eyes. Nicolas Cage also has that look. Nicolas Cage, his sleepy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
We could go back to him if you want to look at him, but let's see. Oh, I don't have Nicolas Cage. I thought I did. Never mind. Sorry about that. But what's interesting is that their charts are so similar in energies. Now, did these movie producers, when they picked this young guy to play a young Obi-Wan, did they do astrology charts, or did they just look at him and say, hey, I like his mannerisms, they match Alex Guinness's? See what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely. Some of them, they can check the chart, but most of the people subconsciously recognize similar energy.
Yeah, and they just recognize that. And,
yes.
For
example, like Stanley Kubrick has a Scorpio influence, so this is not accident that he produced this kind of film with a lot of secret information in the film, darkness and all the secrets. So this is kind of energy of Scorpio.
Yeah. Well, that's. I just wanted to throw this in to say there's so much, like so many musicians have huge Neptune aspects. Yes. Adele has a whole bunch of Taurus and Neptune. And this goes on and all of them, this Neptune. Movie directors are all Neptune, and their styles are changed with the transits of the movies, have changed with the transit of Neptune. When it changes a sign, the movie trend changes. I got a little episode on that in the book. It's just the rhythms are there. We are part of those rhythms. And we got to learn to live with them, and be part of them. And I think it's pretty easy to do if you're getting stuck in a rut somewhere and you're feeling all tied up. Let's say you're feeling like a triple Taurus. Remember, the next sign is Gemini. Break it up. Move on. Get too scattered. Come back with Cancer. The process is there. Every minute, every hour, every day, every month, every year, It's pretty neat. And this is my plug for the books. Astrovisions.com.
Very good book. Very
Yeah.
good book. This Dance of the Zodiac you can find out many information.
Yeah, and let's see. I should be able to.
I heard that CIA agent they buying this book to find out how to recognize the people by the look.
Yeah.
all
I-
mentalists, all the mentalists, famous magician, illusionist, mentalists, CIA, NSA agents, they looking for this kind of information. Detectives, many different agencies, because this is very useful for them, for
Well,
marketing, for relation, to find out the other half. So I recommend this kind of book because this kind of knowledge you won't find at school.
Now, I was amazed I was able to capture all this. Took a lot of time, but Capricorns one step at a time, plod, plod, plod. So Santos, thank you for allowing this to happen, and Greg.
Thank you very much. It was a big pleasure, and I hope we can meet again. But I want to ask also Santo Bonacci, who introduced you to our public and also for in general for everything.
Well, thank you. It was.
Thank you.
I'm really glad this happened. I have a tendency to. I did get wrapped up in this last book, as I didn't do anything for 3 years other than work on it. And once it was done, I wanted to redo it, but because I could have done something totally different. Anyway, well, Santos.
Hey, thanks.